The moment was supposed to be a triumphant one. Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex turned self-styled Hollywood visionary, had been gearing up to launch what Netflix insiders describe as her biggest reinvention project yet, a glossy, heartfelt cooking show blending heritage, family, and celebrity sparkle. But instead of applause, she walked headfirst into humiliation. On live television, legendary chef and activist Alice Waters, widely regarded as one of the most respected culinary figures in America, called out Meghan for what she boldly declared was a fake cooking show. The fallout was immediate and devastating. Within minutes of the broadcast, social media lit up with clips of Waters' takedown. Hashtags like Fake Food Duchess and Netflix Panic trended across platforms. Commentators from New York to London described the moment as the death knell of Meghan's carefully manufactured lifestyle brand. And in Montecito, where Meghan and Prince Harry had staked everything on their Hollywood future, the panic was not just real, it was palpable. Because this wasn't just a critique of recipes. It was a direct attack on credibility. And credibility is the only currency the Sussexes have left. The humiliation cut deeper than most public embarrassments because it struck at the very heart of Meghan's strategy since leaving the royal family. She had positioned herself as a new kind of cultural figure, an advocate for authenticity, a woman of the people, someone who could connect royalty with everyday kitchens and family meals. But Alice Waters shattered that illusion in seconds, exposing Meghan's project as what many insiders had quietly feared, a performance, not a passion. When Meghan Markle and Prince Harry signed their blockbuster multi-million-dollar deal with Netflix, the industry buzzed with anticipation. The couple, fresh off their explosive royal exit, were billed as Hollywood's golden duo, armed with untold access, royal intrigue, and a promise to bring authentic, meaningful content to the screen. For Netflix, still reeling from fierce competition with Disney+, Amazon, and Apple, the Sussexes were not just content creators. They were the brand saviors. But behind closed doors, executives soon discovered a harsher truth. Authenticity is difficult to package. Meghan's cooking show, pitched as a heartfelt blend of cultural storytelling and culinary discovery, quickly hit creative roadblocks. Multiple producers privately complained that Meghan lacked both the culinary knowledge and the natural warmth needed to carry a cooking format. Instead, what emerged was a heavily staged series of glossy photo ops, carefully scripted kitchen segments, and celebrity guest cameos that felt more like PR than genuine food storytelling. Still, Netflix pressed forward. They had invested too much to back out, and Meghan was insistent. Her team marketed the show as her passion project, with insiders claiming Meghan wanted it to rival Martha Stewart's empire while capturing the intimacy of Nigel Lawson's broadcasts. It was during a routine panel on sustainable food and media representation that the disaster unfolded. Alice Waters, never one to mince words, was asked about the wave of celebrity-driven food content flooding streaming platforms. Without hesitation, she singled out Meghan's upcoming Netflix show, blasting it as a corporate fabrication designed for image building rather than substance. Cooking is about honesty. You can't fake it. And when a cooking show becomes performance, when the hands that stir the pot are just there for the camera, it stops being food, it becomes marketing. That's not culture, that's deception. And people deserve better. The audience gasped. The moderator scrambled to change the subject. But the damage was done. Viewers knew exactly who she was referring to. Within hours, clips circulated worldwide. The verdict was unanimous. Alice Waters had exposed Meghan Markle. Netflix's response was chaotic. Executives huddled in emergency meetings, weighing whether to delay or even scrap the project. The fear wasn't just that the show would flop. It was that the Waters moment had poisoned the brand before it even launched. But in Montecito, the panic wasn't just professional. It was personal. Prince Harry, insiders revealed, was furious, not at the critique itself, but at the fact Meghan had been publicly shamed. Those close to the couple say Harry railed against Waters in private, dismissing her as an elitist and accusing her of undermining Meghan's good intentions. His reaction, predictably combative, only added fuel to the fire, because while Meghan reeled from humiliation, Harry's anger made things worse. Instead of calming the storm, he amplified it. He was spotted barking at aides, ranting about the Hollywood establishment and insisting that Meghan's critics were part of a coordinated effort to discredit them. It was a familiar refrain, echoing his years of battling the British press. But this time it wasn't tabloids. It was America's most respected culinary voice. For critics of the Sussexes, the Alice Waters episode became Exhibit A in a broader case, that Harry and Meghan's post-royal ventures were built on illusion. The couple had mastered the art of grand announcements, glossy photo shoots, and carefully curated sound bites. But when the projects themselves were scrutinized, they faltered. The Spotify deal ended in embarrassment after the couple produced just one podcast series before the partnership collapsed. Their Netflix documentary, while initially popular, sparked backlash for being repetitive and self-indulgent. Now, the cooking show faced the same fate, exposed as a vanity project before it even aired. What made this particular humiliation more potent was the contrast between Meghan's polished image and Alice Waters' unimpeachable authenticity. Waters built her career over decades, pioneering farm-to-table dining, mentoring generations of chefs, and quietly reshaping America's relationship with food. She didn't chase fame. Fame found her. And when she spoke, people listened. By comparison, Meghan's insistence on positioning herself as a culinary visionary rang hollow. And once Waters punctured that illusion, there was no patching it back together. What followed Alice Waters' brutal takedown of Meghan Markle's so-called cooking show was nothing short of a cultural earthquake. Overnight, the carefully constructed facade of the Duchess in the kitchen began to crumble. Viewers who once tuned in for the glamour of royalty meets domesticity suddenly saw only smoke and mirrors. Meghan, draped in designer aprons, presenting herself as a humble California homemaker, was unmasked as little more than a scripted performer. Netflix executives, who had banked heavily on Meghan's show as a cornerstone of their Sussex partnership, reportedly went into full-blown crisis mode. Private meetings stretched long into the night at the company's Los Angeles headquarters. Marketing teams scrambled to re-edit trailers, scrub advertisements, and adjust press releases. The illusion of authenticity was gone, and Alice Waters had ensured that there was no way back. But the real eruption did not come from Meghan herself. It came from Prince Harry. According to production insiders, Harry was livid, not merely with Alice Waters, but with Netflix. He viewed the very idea of questioning Meghan's credentials as a betrayal of their brand. He reportedly stormed into executive meetings uninvited, demanding to know why Netflix was not protecting Meghan's image. Instead of appearing as a supportive husband, Harry came across as combative, unhinged, and in many ways dangerous to the very partnership he was supposed to safeguard. One Netflix insider described the scene. Harry insisted that anyone who questioned Meghan's authenticity was insulting him directly. He tried to lecture senior executives on loyalty, monarchy, and respect. It was bizarre. He wasn't acting like a business partner. He was acting like a monarch who thought he could command the room. The executives, however, were unmoved. For Netflix, the numbers told the story. Viewer engagement was collapsing. Comment sections across social media were flooded with scathing reviews, mocking not only Meghan's performance but Harry's awkward cameos in the background of several episodes. Clips of him clumsily chopping vegetables or nodding approvingly at Meghan's speeches were circulating online as memes, with captions ridiculing him as the royal house husband. Harry's antagonism only fueled the backlash. Instead of calming the storm, he added gasoline. He lashed out at British tabloids, accusing them of colluding with Waters to destroy Meghan. He accused former palace courtiers of planting stories to humiliate them. He even suggested that Netflix itself was playing into an anti-Sussex agenda by not silencing Alice Waters sooner. The problem for Harry was that none of these attacks landed. Waters' reputation was unimpeachable. For decades, she had been celebrated as a pioneer of authentic food culture. Her restaurants were institutions. Her books were gospel in culinary schools. When she said Meghan's cooking show was fake, the public believed her without hesitation. Against that weight, Harry's fury looked small, petulant, and deeply out of touch. And the damage was spreading beyond the show. Hollywood insiders began to whisper about the Sussexes' overall viability in the entertainment industry. Executives questioned whether their authenticity brand had any legs left to stand on. Major producers quietly shelved projects tied to their names, wary of investing in ventures that now looked toxic. For Meghan, the optics were catastrophic. What was meant to be a soft, approachable side of her image had been weaponized against her. Instead of being remembered as the Duchess who embraced cooking, she was branded as a Duchess who faked it. And worse, the Duchess who needed her furious husband to fight her battles. As the fallout intensified, it was Harry's behavior behind the scenes that stole headlines. Sources claimed he issued ultimatums to Netflix, back Meghan, or risk losing access to him altogether. But here lay the irony. Netflix no longer needed Harry. His constant interference, his combative tone, and his inability to separate family grievances from business negotiations made him a liability. What had once been a glamorous royal partnership was now viewed as a ticking time bomb. Even inside their Montecito circle, tensions grew. Friends who had once rallied to their side distanced themselves quietly. Invitations to Hollywood parties began to dry up. One producer, speaking anonymously, described the Sussexes as a headache nobody wants. Meghan comes with baggage. Harry comes with rage. And yet, despite the walls closing in, the couple doubled down. Instead of acknowledging the criticism, they framed themselves as victims of yet another smear campaign. Harry, in particular, pushed the narrative that Alice Waters had been weaponized by the establishment to undermine Meghan. But in doing so, he revealed the very weakness their critics had long accused him of, an inability to take responsibility.